not stumble because he sees the light of the world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles because the light is not in him. After saying these things, he said to them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I go to awaken him. That is such good news. The disciples said to him, Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will recover. Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought he meant taking rest in sleep. Then Jesus told them plainly, Lazarus has died. And for your sake, I'm glad that I was not there, so that you may believe. Some strange words, especially when you link that with how we pray sometimes. But let us go to him. So Thomas called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. They're going to kill Jesus when we go, and they're probably going to kill us too, so let's go die with Lazarus. Verse 17. Now when Jesus came, he found that Lazarus had already been dead 4 days. Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles off, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary consoling concerning her. So when Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, but Mary remained seated in the house. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Bold statement. Now she goes back to verse 22 to kind of clean it up. But even now I know that whatever you ask from God will give you. Whatever you ask from God, God will give you. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise in the resurrection on the last day. And Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God. Not a very rosy message to preach, but death is inevitable, death is universal, and death will constantly be invading and disrupting our lives until we die, and then we will experience it as well. I was reading a book this week, and in the preface to the book, one of the people who knew the author of the book and the person that the book was about said essentially this, that all human relationships end in pain. Because all human relationships ultimately end in death. So here we are facing the reality of the death of Lazarus. And let us not miss this opportunity and occasion to face the reality of our own death so that we can clearly hear the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. In verses 1 to 4, Lazarus is sick. It's believed that Lazarus was the brother of Mary and Martha. The conclusion is drawn based on that because you never see him doing anything. He's just probably the younger brother, and these sisters are taking care of everything. And they send to Jesus, and they send to him based on their close relationship, believing that as soon as Jesus got word that the guy that he really loved, Lazarus, a really close friend, and close friends of these two sisters, they believed that as soon as Jesus got word about Lazarus being sick, that Jesus would drop everything and come running, but he didn't. But Jesus gives us a clarification statement in the text. He says there's some stuff that's going to happen, and it's going to look bad to you, but he said, don't look at the situation. Don't look at the circumstance. Don't isolate the situation. You've got to look at the situation in the greater context of the glory of God. Most of us spend our lives dropping the microscope down on the situation without giving any consideration to how God might be glorified even in a painful circumstance like death. And so I would challenge you and encourage you when life happens, don't think situation. Don't think if I really could pray and if God really cared about me and loved me, that He would answer my prayer and get me out of this, that He would come and rescue me. Think glorification. I know this hurts. I know this is painful. But how is God going to glorify Himself in this? I don't know about you, but I find myself in seasons of life where I get frustrated with God. Where I wish He would just see things my way every now and then and hear it my way every